Attention viewers, this video contains religious and socio-political commentary and has been carefully produced to comply fully with YouTube's terms of use policy and community guidelines. Hello everyone. In the intro I said that I would be relying on Pat Zuckeran's article Abusive Churches, where he talks about 8 characteristics of an abusive church. Well, this video is going to deal with the first one, which is control-oriented leadership. And I'm going to talk about control-oriented leadership as it relates to my experiences in the One Accord Church. Now, let me just quickly touch on some things in the article. The central figure of an abusive church is a control-oriented leader, where this leader is a dogmatic, self-confident, arrogant. He's the spiritual focal point of the lives of his followers. He claims to hear to be spiritually in tune with God and no one else. He claims to receive personal revelations from God, and because of all these claims, the leader's position and beliefs they can't be questioned. And although he may not come out and state this, the attitude, it's understood, clearly by everyone that you don't challenge the leader, and this is seen by the treatment of those who do so. Individual thinking is prohibited, and so the followers become dependent on the leader. So as it relates to One Accord and what I saw there, I kind of want to talk about this in 3 points: hierarchy, language, and preference. Hierarchy. There's a hierarchy that's created in these kinds of churches, and you see this hierarchy in One Accord. I saw this. And this hierarchy is created with language and preference. And by hierarchy, I mean there are people who are with the bishop and there are people who are against the bishop. And you're either with him or against him. And this is the language that comes out from the pulpit and things that are taught and preached on. And it's even an unspoken attitude, unspoken thing in the air that you just don't question. And this hierarchy is also created by preference. In other words, if you are in with the bishop, he'll come over and he'll say your name from the pulpit. He'll talk about how wonderful your family is. He'll call you, say, "Oh, I'm just checking on you." He'll come over and stand by you. So there are a lot of different things that he does that I saw T.A. Body do in terms of showing preference and attention to people. And you can say, well, he's just being nice, but no, all of this behavior, the language and the behavior together goes to create and enforce this hierarchy. And this is what I saw. Now, I was with this church for a total of 8 years. I was there with them in '94 for about 3.5 years. I was gone for a couple years, and I came back in '01, and I was there for about 3.5 years. So there are a lot of things that I did not see in this church until I began to ascend in the hierarchy, which was maybe about the last year that I was with this church. That's when I really began to see a lot of things. And so more in relation to this hierarchy, the leader tends to be accountable to no one. And so there may be an elder board, but it's usually made up of people who are loyal to the leader, and this is clearly the case in One Accord. I saw this myself. I want to make a direct statement to all the elders in the One Accord Church. I'm talking about the Lomaxes, the Longs, Pauline Wallace, Haskell. I can Braxton. I can name several names. You all are worthless as elders. You all have no backbone. Your loyalty is to a man rather than to God and the Word of God. For years you have served in this church and been with this man. You have seen, I know that there are many things that you have seen. There are things that you know to be wrong that this man and his wife and his family have done. But you all continue to stand by their side. I think it's wrong. It's a shame. And you all are going to have to answer for this one day. Now I want to share with you 2 stories as it relates to this issue of control-oriented leadership. Number one, one time, this happened in December of of '04. This was the pretty much the month my marriage ended, for all intents and purposes, and pretty much when I left One Accord for the most part. There was a Wednesday night Bible study. Bishop Body came forth and asked, actually he asked for the Sunday previously. He asked for 18 people to give $18,000 because his home was in jeopardy. Keep in mind, he had just had a pastor's appreciation where he got over $30,000. So at this Wednesday night Bible study, this Sunday, and then again on Wednesday, he's asking for people. He said, he revealed that he had already given 20-something thousand towards the crisis, and he needed another $18,000. Out of concern, I stood up in the Bible study and respectfully asked him, I said, Pastor, will it ever come a time when we'll be explained exactly as to what's happening with your home? And I asked him this question because I was concerned, and this has been the second or third time that he had some kind of problem with the mortgage on his home, and he had just gotten a large sum of money. So I'm wondering what the heck is going on. So in a nutshell, to make a long story short, he didn't answer my question, and he actually told me outright. He said, it's none of your business. And I challenged him on that respectfully. I said, well, and he gave me a response. He said, well, do the parents tell the children everything that's going on in their house? And my reply to him was, well, Pastor, I'm not a child. Needless to say, from that point going forward, I was seen as being crazy, as having challenged the bishop, and I was pretty much on the outs from there. That's when my wife started acting crazy, etc. So that's one story. Another story is one time, several months after I had separated from my wife, there was a lot of drama going on between me and her, because both her and the church had teamed up and they were attacking me, and I wasn't able to see my daughter. There was a lot of conflict. I was back and forth to court. So I had joined another small church, and my pastor at the time said, look, this is ridiculous. Somebody just needs to talk to her and see if we can just resolve this. A friend arranged for my pastor to talk to her, which she did. She sat with him for 2 hours, and they talked about several things. Three key things she said was that I was a great man, that I had never harmed her, I had never abused her, and that the problems in the marriage had very little to do with me. Well, she shared some other personal things. A great conversation. They had planned to get back together again. Well, a couple of days later, my pastor gets a call from Bishop Body, Bishop T.A. Body. Never talked to the man before. He asked him, how are you doing, sir? T.A. Body replied, not good. My pastor asked him why. He said, because you talked to one of my members against her will, and you violated church protocol by talking to one of my members. And my pastor, of course, said, said that he never made her talk against her will, and he also said, I never heard of any such thing as church protocol. He said, but so after Bishop Body finished jumping down his throat, my pastor, in a very funny way said, I will be sure that if I ever talk to one of your members in the future, I will be sure to call and get your permission. So those two stories show very clearly this control-oriented leadership in One Accord by T.A. Body. You don't question him. You don't ask him questions about anything. It's going to be perceived as challenging his authority. You don't talk to his members without talking to him first. That's the way it works at One Accord. And if you violate these rules, you will be talked about from the pulpit. You will be slandered. You will be people will be told not to talk to or associate with you. You're presented as seen as a person who is full of the devil, and in some cases who's not saved. So that is how control-oriented leadership operates in the One Accord Church by T.A. Body. And it's interesting because many of these consequences and these things that are communicated in terms of enforcing leadership are not really done by him. Most often they're done by his wife or by other people who quote-unquote prophesy, so that he can sit back and have the appearance that it's God saying it and not him. So Anyway, stay tuned. The next segment is manipulation of members, and I will talk about how that occurs in the One Accord Church.